Good evening, my friends, colleagues. I am delighted to report that I will be returning to Washington, D.C. tonight. I will be providing a detailed itinerary and logistics to appropriate individuals, and I am just excited, thrilled actually, and quite proud of the work that's been done by so many people to prepare for this trip. There are two overarching trajectories that will preoccupy this extended time in Washington, D.C. The first is obviously the overarching one. That's the candidacy for the presidency of the United States in 24. The other is a more sensitive series of briefings and discussions that will be partially classified regarding national security issues and the state of the world, in particular with regard to the quest for a comprehensive peace to the presently heating up and hot global conflicts. The two, of course, entwine in this election cycle, and that forms the context for a few comments I'd like to make about kind of what it feels like to be running for president and what you have to think about and have inside you to do this. Having always been a CEO or leader, it is not a daunting thing to me, or a frightening one. It's something I feel very well prepared to fulfill. Those big titles, President and Commander-in-Chief, Leader of the Free World, these statements, these phrases carry a great deal of meaning, and they should. As I look back in the history of presidents, I find myself fitting into the mold of someone stepping into an extremely complex and mission-critical moment or time in the evolution of the country and indeed the world. And in that sense, I can foresee the types of challenges that we'll be tackling over this coming decade that will have in many ways some of the sensations for both me, should I be privileged to carry those titles not too far from now, not too many months, to carry those titles in times that harken back to some of the challenges that George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, FDR, certainly JFK, some of my heroic icons that were seated in the Oval Office. One of the characteristics that each of them faced was looking into the future and seeing a great change that was inevitable and had to be incorporated into thinking anew about some fundamental structural aspects of how our nation is organized and how it operates, and what the scientific and technological capabilities are that are at hand for both citizens and the government. We live in a time when the total biotechnological power that can fall into an individual's hands is striking and awesome in its implications for questions about sovereignty, for example. Take this as an example. What happens when flying cars become real and airports begin to be less and less effective at managing the questions of sovereignty and immigration? What is the FAA going to look like a decade from now or 15 years from now? These are significant issues, each and every one of them. Immigration, the debate over border walls and such, is a very serious one, and I take it very seriously, and I have some excellent ideas on how the propagation of a U.S. federal minimum wage progressively south of the border, step by step, over time, may be a material part of a more rugged solution to that problem of sovereignty. if we look out ahead to this century, indeed, folks, as we're talking about our own propulsion technologies and the classified expressions of those that exist and that will exist, we are going to be stunned at the opportunities and the challenges that are ahead. How do we finance Planet B, essential for our survival as a species? Soon, and we can do it now. But how do we finance it? Can't tax our way to it, can't indebt ourselves to it, so something new. That's one of the things that we've been working on. What about the human genome, and how far can we extend the length of a lifetime? Arbitrarily? That issue could come up during these next few terms. What if you could clone yourself? Those are some massive bioethics questions for you to consider, and other wrenching questions that are so painful to think about, but do require serious engagement, like gun control, and generally speaking, how do we re-inspire people to fall back in love with each other and also with their country. The return of a civic sense of pride in our national identity, and what holds us together, especially as we become more ethnically diverse in the United States here. These are just some of the issues that I look forward to really tackling in a bipartisan sense, a multi-party sense, better said, and exemplifying that approach, in my opinion, requires that we appreciate some of the qualities of the presidency that have been lost, or at least in my opinion, have been ceded to excessive trivialization and disrespect of people who hold high office in this great nation. I look back on the days of JFK, and he was probably the closest president to carry the office in the manner that I intend to myself. He was something of a playboy, not too much, but enough to intrigue people and get the buzz scoring in the popular media of a celebrity status. That's inevitable if I am privileged enough to sit in the Oval Office myself. But more specifically, the dynastic quality of a more permanent sense of duty and honor, I believe, needs to return to that office, and the dignity and respect of the family members and the people who work for it and in the White House, I personally believe needs to be reignited. That energetic passion for the job and for the splendor of our nation is exemplified by how you carry yourself in everything from press conferences to how you engage the media, and how you balance the seriousness and the sober and indeed inevitably tragic moments that are to be faced. How you carry yourself, bring good humor and always compassionate love to that office, I believe, are characteristics that I truly intend to do my very best to present to the nation and to the world, to all of you. So please wish me the best and do your best to support me in every way you can, because I damn well guarantee you I'll need it. Thank you, my friends. God bless you, your families, and God bless the United States of America.